Deb is not coming.
Oh, they took them all. You copy off me here.
Good evening, and welcome to the October 26, 2015 Hillsborough Township Board of Education meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. In accordance with the State Sunshine Law of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Hillsborough Township Board of Education was provided on October 22, 2015 to the Hillsborough Beacon and Courier News. May I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Ms. Bogashevsky.
Here.
Ms. Setfanti.
Here.
Mr. Cohen.
Here.
Mr. Dutta. Mr. Gillette.
Here.
Mrs. Haas.
Here.
Mrs. Haley.
Here.
Dr. Soisson. President Kinst.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Let us rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have correspondence as is in the agenda, and now I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Schiff for the superintendent's report. Dr. Schiff.
Thank you, President Kinst. I'm pleased to be able to share with the Board of Education and members of the entire Hillsborough community some wonderful news from around the district this week. This week, the entire district, as well as the Hillsborough community, will celebrate Red Ribbon Week. This is a national campaign to raise awareness about the problems of substance abuse. This year's theme is Respect Yourself, Be Drug-Free. All 9 schools will be participating in the campaign with many different activities, including Wearing Red, School Spirit Day, collecting canned goods for the Samaritan Homeless Interim Project, and helping out the poor and disadvantaged of Somerset County, as well as trivia contests and more. I want to specifically thank Minda Maggio, our district's life skill coordinator, and her many parent volunteers at each of the schools who work hard to raise awareness about the problem of substance abuse. Thank you and all who work with you for the hard work and dedication to our students. Let's give them a round of applause, please. On another note, congratulations to the Hillsborough Raider girls gymnastics team who captured first place as a team at the Skylands Conference Gymnastic Tournament with a score of 113.2, the best performance of their season. This year is the second consecutive years that the team has won the title. In addition to the great team performance on Friday night, senior Natalie Ondurko won the all-around, and Sarah Palais, also a senior, placed no lower than 5th in each event. Congratulations to Natalie, Sarah, and the entire girls gymnastics team on their great performance. I know that this is a well-earned with hundreds of hours of practice, both in season and off. Congratulations. 2 weeks ago, the Hillsborough High School boys and girls cross-country team traveled to Berners Township to compete in the Somerset County Cross-Country Championship. The Raiders swept the tournament with first-place finishes for the boys team as well as the girls team, and first-place individual wins for seniors Brandon Tubby and Paige Novak. Congratulations to Brandon and Paige and the boys and girls cross-country team. Your hard work and dedication to training is truly commendable. Way to go. That's all I have tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Continuing on with the agenda is approval of minutes. First, let's see, the executive session actually going to move to postpone that. There's some information that I feel needs to be added with regard to when people came in and left that I think is pertinent. So I'd like to entertain a motion to postpone the October 12, 2015 executive session minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move that to the next meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the October 12, 2015 public meeting minutes.
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second? Any discussion? Just one real quick on the under the president's announcements for the second one with the announcement of the negotiations committee that would be chaired by myself. We'll just make that in there. So, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions? Okay. Those those meeting minutes are approved. Now I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the October 21st, 2015 special meeting minutes. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay. But we had a majority, so.
I abstain.
Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Committee reports. Start with education. Mrs. Haas?
Wait a minute. Okay. We had a very full Education Committee meeting on October 20th. We approved 2 textbooks, one in organic chemistry, which for the public's knowledge, we're now having 6-month or 1-semester classes in the sciences, which is sort of new for us. We approved a class last month or 2 in engineering, and now we're having a 6-month, a half-year class in organic chemistry, and this would be the book for that particular class. It's an elective, and we're very happy to add it to our program of studies. We're also having a new textbook for our social studies AP class called Western Civilization Since 1300. And this is a new book, an updated book that was recommended at the Summer Institute by the College Board for this particular class. So those are on the calendar tonight for approval. We also went over a federal monitoring report, and the corrective action plan is on the agenda for tonight. There were 17 findings, most of which have already been corrected. This is a routine report that takes place, and frankly, it was completed in April, and most everything was corrected already. And but we have to go through with this, so it's on the agenda. If you have any questions at that time, I'm sure we could answer them. So we recommend the approval of the corrective action plan, and there's one item that's being appealed, and that will be on the calendar. Our CUSAC statement of assurance we went through as well, and this is a bench audit because we're classified as a high-performing district. We only need to complete this ourselves, and we had a perfect score that we fully comply with everything we need to comply with. We discussed a Bristol-Myers Squibb initiative, Students to Science, a virtual laboratory program where, due to our involvement in Connect Ed, our middle school and high school have scientists from Bristol-Myers Squibb conduct labs relating to our science curriculum, and it's a virtual thing, and it's free, and it's a very nice partnership with one of our local businesses. We discussed a pilot program for the Sunnymead School. This was brought to us by Dr. Jenkins, our principal, and Sheila Cooper, our supervisor of literacy, to have a pilot program at the Sunnymead School geared towards increasing writing among the students there. And materials for this program will be provided for free. A little bit of professional development will be needed, but I think the more we could teach our kids to write at an early age, the better. I certainly like it. We also have another partnership with Johnson & Johnson that we discussed. This is our leadership training, and we had our nursing supervisor, Lorraine Borick, Miss Lynn Beagle, our Miss Ruth Standley, and the Township Deputy Health Officer, Siobhan Spano, who attended the meeting and shared their plans as leaders of the leadership team for Hillsborough. And what they're doing in conjunction with our wellness policy, number 8505, they're going to develop a wellness committee to assess the health needs of the school community. And with the thought that healthier students learn better, they'll be collecting data using a CDC school index. And hopefully outcomes will result in better test scores, reduced absenteeism, and more awareness of school and community health needs. So we had a very nice presentation from those ladies. We also sort of got a preview of the upcoming park data. Now, October 20th was the release date of the state-level park data, and we saw a sample of what parents will receive, but there are 5 levels in the park assessment, and according to the state of New Jersey, level 4 and 5 are the 2 levels that are considered college-ready. The cut scores for these levels are different in every state that took the park. So we're not going to receive our district data until November, and then individual data they're promising before the new year. So it'll be a while till parents see it, but I would just caution everybody not to get, upset about this data because it's sort of hard to compare it with anything else. So we will, before we send it out to parents, we'll prepare some information that will help the community assess what they're learning from this information. And the final discussion that we had was on a faith-based partnership council that Dr. Schiff is involved with. And they are kicking off their year of gratitude in order to raise awareness of suicide prevention. And this is another partnership that was initiated, again, to help our kids with a major health problem in our community. That's it for education.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Haas. Human Resources, Mrs. Santafanti.
We talked about we reviewed the New Jersey Association of School Business Officials Efficiency Report that was done last December. And based on some of those recommendations, there's a resolution on tonight's agenda to actually collapse 3 part-time positions into 1 full-time payroll assistant and health benefits position, which they feel will benefit a lot. They'll cross-train. It'll also make sure that someone's available throughout the day to help with any concerns, questions regarding health care benefits in the office instead of waiting till the next day to try and address some of the concerns. So that's on the agenda. And then we also reviewed the enrollment at the Sunnymead Kindergarten. And then due to increased enrollment, they have added a part-time position aide into that classroom as well, which is also on tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mrs. Santafanti. Operations, Mr. Gillette.
Thank you. Operations Committee met October 21st. We had a couple of things on the agenda. We had a conference call with our architects and our financial advisors concerning the 2 construction projects that we're hoping to do next summer. The repaving of the middle school parking lot, repaving, resurfacing, everything to the parking lot, and the refurbishment of the artificial turf field at the high school. We are planning to have a public referendum on March 8th with 1 public question asking to borrow around $2 million with a 1-year note to pay for that project. We discussed some of the things we still have to do upcoming, which our advisors will help us with the exact wording of the question, public education about the question, et cetera. So there'll be more to report on this as we move through. The important things to take away now is that it's going to be March 8th referendum. We had a presentation by Ms. Decker, our transportation supervisor. She presented to us a software program for efficiencies and bus routing in transportation. It was actually a very interesting program. Some of us were there by phone, so couldn't see it. Like Mr. Kins couldn't see it, but he heard it. And those of us who saw it, it was really quite interesting. It does have a price tag, so we're still going to do some more investigating, see exactly how much it can save us. Ms. Decker reported, you might be interested, that even the smallest mileage savings per day, even one bus route that saves a couple of tenths of a mile per day, adds up through the whole school year and actually may result in a lower bid on that route in the future. So things like that, maybe more than tenths, maybe a mile or something like that a day, still adds up to 180 miles. And then you multiply that across all the buses and all the routes that we have, and some buses do multiple. Obviously, bus on a 3-tier does 3 routes like that during the day. Software was interesting, and I want to say one more thing about it. One of the most interesting components of it was that there's actually if we choose to opt in for this part of it, that there's actually a part that the public can see. Public can go online maybe and see some function of like where their bus stop is, which route the bus is going in, things like that, something we've never had before. I thought that was very interesting. So we're investigating that. And when the company actually offered to take our routes and put it through their system on their own and see what efficiencies they can come up with to give us a report. So we'll have to look into that. It was a good presentation. We did a final sign-off on replacing some of the ventilators at HES. This is something that we had already decided to do months ago as as an add-on to the ESIP program. So we affirmed it again. And then we had a legal update. We reviewed some legal updates on outstanding lawsuits, which we always have outstanding lawsuits. And we also had Ms. Warlick, our special education director, gave us a legal update on special education outstanding suits currently. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gillette. First off, are there any questions with regard to any of the committee reports?
I just have a quick one.
Yep.
For education, Mrs. Haas.
Yes.
So, did you have any discussion about the AP U.S. History new curriculum? I know we're getting a new book, I guess, to align with the new curriculum. Is that what the book is to do?
The book is the preferred textbook. I mean, there was a textbook that was aligned with the
Right.
existing AP class, and this is a new textbook that's slightly better aligned and has a...
Yeah, because I know this came several months ago. There was an outcry from historians across the nation that the new AP U.S. History was terrible. But I guess we really can't. Whatever it is, we have to follow it, right?
This is for the Euro.
Oh, it's not the U.S. I'm sorry. I
European,
misunderstood
1300.
it then.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't
Oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't hear you correctly. I just heard AP.
It's for the Western civilization, I guess.
Excuse me. All right, I'll withdraw. I'll withdraw this line of questioning.
Okay, but what is your concern about the U.S.?
No, I just there was a big uproar of I don't know, 100 historians sent a letter or whatever it was. Some may have read about it. It was in the newspapers. They thought the new curriculum was not
Inclusive.
didn't represent U.S. history. Represented something else. So, but if you're not on that, we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, well, that's probably a political argument, but
All right, thank you. That's all I had.
getting into that.
Mrs. Haley?
Just a comment. I'd say this every time that we go through textbooks, but I'm hoping that eventually we get to the point with all the technology that we have, and I know this is a publisher's issue, that we can start to have less and less reliance on textbooks because we have all this technology in the district now.
Yes, well, we ask that question every time we approve a textbook, and invariably, it is a requirement that we buy the textbook with it, and it's not for an additional cost, it's just the cost of getting the online edition includes the book. And yes, seems pretty wasteful to me, but we're sort of beholden to all the publishers and can't really do very much about it except continue to complain about it.
But to be clear, we do purchase online the electronic versions of the books, and we're doing that continuously, or regularly.
President Tom, having spent over 20 years in the publishing business, especially legal referencing business, it should be duly noted that when you're dealing with textbooks or, well, I can relate it to, say, the lawyers. The lawyers do research. They research statutes, statutory law. And statutory law references legislative hearings so they can realize what the intent of the statute was. If you look at it online, you can't flip back and forth and research in an efficient manner, but you can in a book. So there's many books that you can't just rely upon in a electronic format. You need them in print and electronic. Sort of a digest can do really well online. An encyclopedia somewhat, but not very well, especially if the topic crosses over multiple lines. So I think it's important that we pick and choose where we try to exclude paper. But I think when it comes to teaching our kids reliance on electronic versus reading, we should try to keep a little bit of reading and hardcover book in their hands. It's my feeling anyway.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cohen.
That wasn't
I wasn't staged, ladies and gentlemen.
That won't happen.
Okay, I got votes in 2 more years.
Okay.
It's not planned.
This is a report, it's not a committee report, but it's a special meeting that we had, which was on October 21st, which was the second public.
Just set that up better.
On Wednesday last week, October 21st, we had the second of 4 public input sessions for our strategic plan. So the topic was visioning, where do you see the district, or where do you want the district to be 5 years from now? So put yourself 5 years in the future. What are things that we could have chosen to do now that would have had a positive impact on the community and children's education? So there were about 80 people that came out. They were broken up into about 17 different groups. Very, very active session, very engaged. Again, just like the first meeting, we had a diverse group of people who didn't know each other. The only common bond that they had is that they cared about children's education and the community. And so we've got a wide range of voices, both in terms of what the consensus was with each table, each group, and then all the individual ones. So we just approved the minutes for that. We will post that, and the meeting itself is on YouTube, just like the other meetings. So again, this is just to reinforce that with us embarking on the strategic planning process, community input, stakeholder input is extremely valuable to us and will help inform and provide us insights into our development of the strategic plan. So the next one is November 18th, correct? And that is the action plans. So as they're doing, looking through all the information right now, they're going to come up with different themes, set number of themes, and then what are the action plans to realize those goals. And then the last one is going to be the data overlay. Mrs. Bogaczewski.
About the last strategic meeting, unfortunately, I was not there, but I sent my son here. And it's interesting. I really hope that people bring their children to the strategic planning, because once you get home, to hear everything from their point of view, it's fascinating. And you really get the ins and outs, especially what it is that they like and what they dislike. And, from my son's point of view, who's in 3rd grade, he was really excited to talk about the reading program of the Wilson, the special ed, the continuing of the reading and writing, how great his teachers are, and of course, he wants longer recess, but that's a whole other story. But I really urge you guys to bring your children to these strategic meetings, because, like I said, it's really great to hear what it is that they want and would like to change.
I make a motion for longer recess.
Yeah, we had, so this meeting we had more student input. It was across all the ages, and I had the chance just to float around, and very articulate students. They brought in valuable perspectives and also recommendations. They're the ones who are living day to day with us, and so they see what works well and what doesn't. Mrs. Haas.
I'd like to add to what Dana said, but I also have 2 questions for Greg and Dina. There was at my table at strategic planning a wonderful high school student, and from her I took away like 2 handwritten pages of ideas of things we could do at the high school, which I guess will be the subject at the next education committee meeting. But it is absolutely wonderful. Kids of all ages just bring a whole different spirit to the room, and yes, they are totally welcome, at all of our strategic planning, because this is about them. And they should be involved in that. Anyway, operations committee question. What software are you using to route buses now?
What's it called? Versatrans?
Versatrans.
And how is this
Versatrans.
better?
Well, we had a side-by-side comparison.
Okay.
And okay, so I'll give you an example. It's hard to, as an example will maybe suffice. With the old software, they wanted to plan bus stops, let's say. So what it would do is it sort of divide the town into blocks, and they said, well, this many children live in this sort of block here, but it couldn't pinpoint where anyone actually lived. Even when you put the addresses in, it was way off. And then she showed us the proposed software, and it actually put the students right at their house. Also, bus stops themselves were not pinpointed where she wanted them. Now, the problem, why don't we change it? Well, the current, just one of the obstacles to making this a slam dunk is that the current software, the new software, it will be about twice as much per month in fees. It's a monthly, it's about twice as much. So there you go. So we really would have to see some real movement on it.
Is the job done once a year? Or is
This
it
is
an
gonna be-
ongoing need to pay a monthly
I
fee
think there
for
are,
this?
the way she explained it, there are once a year functions, but it's continuing. Even on the software we have now, continues more, use it more than just once a year.
Are you talking about the maintenance fee?
No, I'm talking about how often do you use the software? So,
No, obviously, there are changes to routes during the course of the year, but once the year starts, 98% of it is done.
well, I think the software that we saw, I think they would, and Dr. Schiff might agree with this thing, the software that we saw, I think they would be using it more on even a daily basis than the current software, although the current software is used also all the time also, but it can't do as much,
Yeah,
right?
the current software is used every day. Kids move into the district every day. And as Mr. Gillette indicated, our current program approximates where kids live. And this computer program actually geocodes it. So it uses satellites, and you can pinpoint where the child lives, which means that you can better place kids in bus stops. Right now, if there's a question about where a bus stop is, we actually have to visualize it. We go out to the bus stop, we take a look at it. Here, we can actually zoom in and see it in, as close to real time as those satellite mapping images do. It provides greater flexibility, greater opportunity for efficiencies to be developed, less time that our staff has to be out verifying bus stops. We would then know with clarity all of that information, and we transport close to 7,000 children. So having a program that accurately indicates where the children live down to the lot and block. This is all done by lot and block, and we saw that during the presentation. I think is very important. But just going back to something that Greg said before we make a recommendation formally to the Operations Committee and before we ask the board to actually formally approve it, we are asking the people who are selling us this product to do this kind of academic exercise of rerouting in a way that could demonstrate certain savings. So we're going to try to present to the board this additional expense with the offsets on the savings that it would provide the district.
I think she mentioned more efficiency in knowing how many students are sitting on the bus every day, and that could, I don't know if how much you can get away, like how airlines can overbook. I don't know if exactly you can do that, but we may be able to fill those seats a little better. And she talked about that. So there's just so much. It was a pretty good presentation. I just didn't like the price tag.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't like the price tag. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
If it can pay for itself, it's worth
If it can pay for itself, it'd be worth it. Yeah.
It's different, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But the other thing that I was thinking about is whether or not this might be worth doing as a shared service with several districts. If everybody has the same issue, and frankly, I still think, I understand that people move in and out of the district, but I still think your lion's share gets done at one point of the year. And, obviously, if everybody's paying this high price for it, there might be some economies of scale. But I don't know what everybody else has. I don't know what everybody else needs. And, I'll be
Well, we
happy
can
for
certainly
you to
think
rake
about that.
them over the coals and get the price down.
We can
but,
certainly, we can investigate that too if there's any opportunity for that. I don't know how that business works. They have a business. I'm not sure it works like that.
Oh, that's
I'd
great.
just like to make sure that if we're going to do something, if we're going to talk about this, let's just hold our conversation until we get all the information.
absolutely.
And the other thing that I would love to see is to make sure if it's going to be efficient and helpful, if it improves the customer service for the parents and the children, so that, if there's any way to make the line more efficient so that children aren't on the bus any longer than they have to, that's a great experience. And if it means it's going to cost a few dollars more, I'm all for that. as long as it's not an exorbitant amount. And I'll make sure that I'm at the ops meeting when they make their presentation.
Absolutely.
And we'll have all that information there and then.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's duly noted. I'm sure there's a certain amount of things that we're not shining a light on that are left open in terms of questions related. Why are we paying every month for something when we only use it once a month? Sure, that's a normal conversation that anybody would have or ask. But I'm sure there's some kind of reason why, you know. We'll find out. We'll get the information.
You're on the right track.
It's a work,
You're right.
it's a work in
I agree with
progress.
that. What else?
So it's great that we have that option.
Okay.
What else?
there was
She's got
another
one.
question.
You just got another one.
Yeah, I'm
She's
sorry.
got
My
that
other
look in her
question
eye.
was on HR, the Sunnymead kindergarten thing. I'm sort of troubled by having that many kids in 3 classes. It's not just the one class that's gone over, but we have 2 classes at the limit. And I was just wondering whether or not there was any consideration given to creating a 4th class. Because if you have 22, that's 44, and you've got 68 kids in 3 classes, you could also have 4 classes with 17, which I think would be a fair amount of kids in a kindergarten class, rather than putting a paraprofessional into an already overcrowded room. I just don't think that solves the problem, and I don't think it's that late in the school year, being that it's October, to provide some relief to all 3 classes, if we possibly can do that.
We talked a little bit about it, Judy,
I'm sorry?
We talked a little bit about the class size, but we basically, protocol has been that when we've gone over class size, we've added an aide, so that was kind of what.
Now, I know, but in
But that doesn't mean it
kindergarten,
can't be
in
evaluated again. I mean,
Yeah.
it can always go back to committee and be looked at again, but at this point, they
That's-
needed to
I
put
mean,
someone in the classroom. So that was what we've done by protocol, so that's what we did.
No, I know, but, it sort of struck me differently, being that it's kindergarten, being that the other 2 sections in that building are so so large. Try to take care of those little ones. But would you be willing to
We
reconsider
can
that?
go back and talk to administration about it.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, we made the decision based on what we've done in the past per protocol. When class size has gone up, we've put an aide in, and we needed to get someone in there, so that was the decision that was made at this time.
Just to remind, I mean,
But I
the
said we could take it back.
administration made a recommendation,
Right.
HR affirmed it, and now it's going to be it's on the action agenda for that additional resource, that aid for this position. So we're going to act on it tonight. So if we're going to act on it, we should act on it. If we don't want to act on it and wait and figure out what type of person we want to hire, then it can go back to committee. But like I said, the process this is well established. It happens at different grades at different schools. So I just want to keep people in mind with that.
I would also just say that when we're looking at kindergarten and lowering class size there, we also have to consider that parents who are PM will be switched to AM, AM may be switched to PM also. So it's not just lowering the class sizes, it may actually have an effect on start time and times for some families, if we choose to do that.
So you have 2 classes of 22. Is that an AM and a PM?
I believe there's 2 AMs and 1 PM. So if we split it and we had 2 PMs and 2 AMs, or 3 AMs and 1 PM, which may necessitate an additional, we'd have to research it so that the board understands the full cost, that there may also be transportation costs that we may need to incur in order to do that as well.
Well, I think you could negotiate, with parents as to whether or not they'd rather, have their kid go in the afternoon, even though that may not be optimum, but be in a class with 17 kids as opposed to going in the morning and being in a group with 24 kids.
Some families would just have a difficult time with childcare. What I'm saying to you is that it's a little bit more complicated than opening up a section in the 3rd month in a 1st grade or a 2nd grade. We don't have to worry about AM, PM enrollments. This is a little bit more complicated than that. And we would have to, and I would suggest that we do this, if we're going to make this change, we shouldn't just make it ad hoc. We should say that we're going to change and lower class sizes at kindergarten, because we do have other kindergarten sections that are at or close to max at this point. So if there's going to be a change, we want to make sure that the change is equally felt, and it's a matter of policy or procedure that we do throughout the district, not because it's unique to one particular school at one particular period of time.
Well, this is the only one that's been brought forward.
Well, it's the only one that went
My
over.
assumption is everything else is okay.
Well, there are no classes, with the exception of the Sunnymead kindergarten, that are above our class size maximums at this point in time. But there are some that are close.
Okay.
Deal with them when they go over.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Now we'll open up to comments from the public. So if you have some public comment for either new business or the action agenda, we very much welcome and value input from the public. There are 2 times during this board meeting when public is invited to speak. 1 time is now for any item that's listed on tonight's action agenda or new business, and there will be another public forum towards the end of the meeting about any topic. Please understand that our public forums are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. In instances where the board believes there is a misunderstanding or inaccuracy, the board president or superintendent will address the comment. And there may be times when a member of the public makes a comment or asks a question about personnel or hiring decisions. New Jersey statutes do not permit the board to discuss personnel issues in public session. So come on up. If you can state your name and address, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Hobson. I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Hillsborough Elementary School. I'm a proud resident of Hillsborough, and I'm thrilled to be standing up here tonight once again to represent all the wonderful girls and coaches who are involved in the elementary iRun program. Thank you. I stood up here 2 years ago and delivered almost the same speech, yet the recognition for this elementary club has still not happened. The sea of pink behind me, it's overwhelming. The orange means they were pink and they turned to orange. They were with us. Having taught this program now for 5 years, I can see what a positive impact it can make in a girl. It's not just a running club, but instead we work hard to build character and self-esteem. Running is just the bonus, as these girls are learning about a healthy lifestyle. Whether it be learning how to breathe through a yoga class or talking with a nutritionist, we are building the foundation to lead a stronger, longer life. However, it is still amazing to see these girls run that 5K in late May or early June at our own Hillsborough Hop and get to the finish line. I've held the hands of girls and coaching them to the end of the race. I've wiped their tears of happiness when they are done because they never thought they could finish. We notice moms, dads, grandparents running with their kids, and this Pay It Forward benefit is awesome in motivating their parent to run alongside them and set their own goals. It's truly inspiring, many of which have never ran in a 5K. I have chills remembering these accomplishments, and every coach here tonight has experienced these wonderful things. On our weekly meetings, the girls are encouraged to meet others they might not know and step outside of their comfort zone. Mainly, they do activities that can help them be a positive voice inside of their own head and spread it around to others. Their enthusiasm for the program is awesome, and the support from parents is amazing. Unfortunately, iRun, still at the elementary level, is not an official club. It is not acknowledged by the Hillsborough School District. Each coach volunteers their time, which is a lot of time, as they know the benefits are well worth it. In this data-driven world, Mrs. Maggio from our Life Skills Department has helped us gather data on the successes associated with this club. After this speech, I have copies of all that for everybody on the board, and I'd like to distribute them to you. One such statistic that stands out is that 95% of the parents reported that they felt their daughter had an increase in confidence after being part of the elementary iRun club. 95%. It's really something. Especially, thank you. Especially in the world where we are concerned about students' mental health and the pressure that kids are under today. With only 3 guidance counselors at the elementary level, we feel that this club can really help our young girls. So tonight, once again, I am asking you to acknowledge this club at the elementary level. I am hopeful that this can possibly even happen tonight, but I'm not quite sure how that works. And I don't really know, but I would like any feedback from the board to see if this is possible. And if not, who can I follow up with to make it possible? Because it's that important to me, and it's that important to the girls in Hillsborough.
Thank you.
Moving further down the road, I would like to bring this club to the next teacher negotiations in hopes of getting some compensation from those coaches as well, who do so much and volunteer their time. And I have copies for anybody who would like. And I would love any feedback from the board. I don't know if you're allowed to give me feedback, but I would love to know what else we can do, because we really want this acknowledged. Just an acknowledgement, because we do it, and we do it because we love it, but we also want to be recognized, because we're not right now at the elementary level.
Okay. Well, there's. Thank you for being persistent. With regard to, we can't act on this right now because it's not on the agenda, and there are at different points throughout the years where we assign different positions, club positions. First off, I'm not even sure if there are any K through 4 officially recognized clubs. So that'd be part of the. And I'm looking to some of my elementary school.
I do know that there's intramurals that is recognized at the elementary level.
Okay, thank you. So that part needs to happen. The question that you have about with regard to putting it into the HEA negotiations, I would recommend that you talk to your negotiations
Of course.
committee, and then that could be a negotiations point, and then go through that process. And then the other aspect is through the budgetary process. As we go through the budget, if there are a number of clubs or stipends, that's another place where that can occur. So those are different points that can happen.
But what about the acknowledgement without the compensation, just for right now? Because we're starting this club in the spring, and we really want to start it with a board backing, and we don't have that right now. So that's what we want to do.
Yeah, well, I have to see if that's a board action or if that's an administrative action. I mean, in terms of support and recognition, and personally, we acknowledge and we recognize and we thank you for the work that you've done. Every year we see. I run the Hillsborough Hop with my girls and son. And we see the Sea of Pink, and Mrs. Sarek one out there is that my daughters have run with. So from that regard, I mean you have our moral support, you have our energetic support.
But I do believe that other clubs are in, and from my homework that I've done as a teacher, that there are other clubs that are written in, maybe not compensated, but they are acknowledged in.
Yeah, that's something.
And we're not.
We'll have
so
to do
that's why.
We'd have to do it through one of our committees.
So is there anybody I can follow up with?
Yeah, so that would be go ahead.
If I may. Thank
I'm
you
being
so much
persistent.
for your
sorry.
presentation. No, we do appreciate it. All of our school-sponsored clubs are indemnified by the board too, so unfortunately at times kids can get hurt at their activities, and then we would make sure that that the adults who are supervising are also protected through that process, that every club that comes to the board that is board approved and sanctioned goes through a process that the board feels comfortable with and we can move forward. So my specific suggestions for you are to develop a budget, to also put together a proposal for the board's consideration. We will put that through our committee process. Our education committee would then review it, and then we would touch base with our administrators also, and then we can bring it in front of the board for the board's full consideration. But it needs to go through a process.
So if I go through that process, is there a time frame for that?
About a month.
Okay. All right.
I just want to say in support of the superintendent, we're very much in love with process. But I think the sense of the board, I feel by looking at their faces, at least most of the members, you would find a positive environment.
Thank you.
But I think in deference to all the people who are out here tonight, having the board truly understand, ask questions, get some feedback on it, that for the board to act on this particular thing.
I meant in the
No,
straight way.
that's what I'm saying, is
process. You get it.
to ensure that the board is well informed before they make a decision, and that board members have an opportunity to ask directly, those particular questions as they come up. And I'm sure that they would give very serious consideration to it.
And I welcome anybody, come to a practice, and Dr. Antunes and I have spoken about this on several occasions. Any questions you have, I will come to your house, your office, and meet with you, because it is that important to me, and I know it's important to the people in the room as well. And I think that a couple of the kids maybe want to speak to on the iRun behalf. So thank
Okay.
you very much.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Hobson. Yeah, please bring forward the info. Mrs. Haley.
I just wanted to make a comment about something that she said in her speech that I hear over and over again from parents throughout the community. And I have a friend that is actually a counselor, not in Hillsborough, but for Somerset County. We are lacking in guidance counselors in the elementary schools. So at least I have no problem saying that during this year's budgetary process, I personally will be pushing for that to be added. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Lisa Rossman Murphy, and I'm speaking on behalf of the iRun program as a pediatric physical therapist and as a parent. From the standpoint of a PT, I am concerned about the unhealthy state of children. Much more time is spent in front of video games, cell phones, and computers than ever before. According to the CDC, 17% of kids and adolescents aged 2 to 19 years old in the U.S. are now obese. This generation of children may be the first to experience a reverse in the trend of increasing lifespans that Americans have enjoyed throughout history. iRun gives girls an opportunity to exercise in a fun, friendly environment. iRun gets these children off the couch and outside getting physically fit and challenging themselves. As a parent, I watched my daughter come home with excitement from iRun each week, happy to report how many laps she had run, and each week trying to beat her own record. iRun gives these children a sense of achievement as they commit to, train for, and run a 5K, the Hillsborough Hop. I watched my daughter, after 2 years in iRun, cut 8 minutes off her time in the Hillsborough Hop from 1 year to the next. What a sense of accomplishment. I wish I could do that. iRun got many parents off their couches as well, since each girl had a parent run the 5K with them. iRun needs to be recognized as a club to support the teachers who are giving their own time for this program. I urge you to recognize it as a club to ensure its place in the district and community and to guarantee its continuance year after year in helping our kids develop lifelong habits of exercise and good health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and here's a few reasons why iRun should be a recognized club and why it's important to me. I first started this club in 4th grade and still participating. Ever since I started the iRun club, it made me feel important and excited. I was a part of something. When I started, I was kind of scared, but the teachers were so sweet. In the beginning, we always talked and did greetings. Those always helped boost kids' self-esteem and getting to know each other. The teachers were always encouraging, and I know I love encouraging other girls too. At the end of everything, training, talking, stretching, it's great to cross the finish line and say, wow, I did it. And that's why the iRun Club should be recognized.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gabriella. And I'm Sophia. And I'm Isabella. iRun is an amazing program for girls. It teaches you how to be yourself and not care about what other people think of you. The teachers dedicate their time to us. They are really supportive and they make this activity fun. Thanks to the program, I have developed a love for running. Please support the teachers so this program can continue. Thank you.
In iRun, you don't only run, you get to know new friends. In iRun, you learn about each other, encourage each other, and know about each other. You get to finish that finish line, and it feels so great knowing that you did it with each other.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm a 6th grade student at this school, and I've been doing iRun since I was in 4th grade. This has been very exciting for me. I've loved to run. It really has boosted my self-confidence, and not only that, but I've made lots of new friends through this running program. I feel happy. I feel like I'm achieving something when I'm in this club. Obviously, there are lots of people here right now, so this has to be a great thing because all these people have come to support, and yeah.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name's Rebecca, and I just wanted to say that it's great because I never used to really like to run, but since they always support you, keep making you going, that I like to run and to keep achieving my goals and setting new goals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just the whole public speaking aspect of it shows all the confidence that you have, because it is not easy to do that. So good job, girls.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to make one point. If you ever saw the commercial Run Like a Girl, has everybody seen that? So this is why I think it's most important to establish this club in the elementary school level. The commercial basically states little kids showing how do you run like a girl, and they run fast as they could. And how do you fight like a girl, and they fight really hard. And as they get into 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they say, how do you run like a girl? And they're running like a girl. And I think this club really establishes the self-worth of these kids at a young age when it's appropriate time to break in there and show them the path that they need to take to develop good self-confidence. So establishing this club at the elementary level is really the way to do this. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay. Great, again, thank you for coming out, thank you for speaking. Thanks for the girls who came out to speak. Echo Ms. Haley's comments, and it's good to see so many people have been bitten by the running bug. So, I think we'll just take a quick break so that everybody can get their kids to either get home so you can finish homework or get to bed. So we'll take a 5-minute recess.
I need to go to bed, so.
Good. Okay, we're back. We're back in session. Just to close out public comment. Opening the floor again to any other public comment. Okay, seeing none, we can now move on to the action agenda. Dr. Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Kintz. I ask for the board's consideration of the following motions under the area of education: to approve travel and related expenses, participation in the Bristol-Myers Squibb Student to Science Virtual Laboratory Program, to approve the consolidated monitoring report with corrective action plans for the year 2015, approve the resolution to appeal finding 4 of the consolidated monitoring report, to approve the submission of the 2015-2016 CUSAC Statement of Assurance, to approve the Red Ribbon Proclamation, to approve the overnight trip, textbooks as reported out of education, and an out-of-district placement.
I'd like to entertain a motion to approve items A1 through A9 of the action agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Just a real quick question, just to confirm. In the item A3 with the a response for the corrective action plan, just want to confirm that a number of them said that we would be providing supportive documentation. Just confirming that. Assume that was the case. Thank you for confirming. Okay. No other discussion. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boguszewski?
Yes.
Ms. Santafante?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
And President Kinston.
Yes. Mr. Kentz is fine. I'd like to, continuing on, the motion passes. Continuing on with the action agenda, Dr. Schiff.
Thank you. I ask for the board's consideration of the following motions that I'm recommending under the area of human resources. To approve the attached resolutions, to accept the retirement as listed, the resignations as listed, to approve the leaves of absences, and the appointments of a teacher, long-term substitute instructional assistant, 12-month secretary, lunch aide, computer technician, and co-curricular advisors, as well as coach, substitutes, buddies, student teachers, and extra period coverage.
I'd like to entertain a motion to approve items B1 through B7 of the action agenda.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Mrs. Haas.
The item regarding the instructional assistant, I'm not seeing it. Is that supposed to be on this agenda?
Which one is it?
It is.
I'm not seeing anything for Sunnymead.
B1.
It's item B1. So there's a item B11 is the resolution
Okay,
to
but
create.
there's not a person identified for this yet.
That's correct. It's the position.
Okay, then I'd like to separate out B1.
Okay. All of B1 or just?
Actually, yeah, all of B1.
Okay. So this will be for items B2 through B7.
I withdraw my motion and make a motion to B2 through the end.
Okay. Roll call, please. Again, this is for B2 through B7.
Ms. Boguszewski?
Yes.
Ms. Santafanti?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Which item are we?
This is B2 through B7.
Okay, fine, yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Mr. Kinst?
Yes.
Motion
Motion
passes.
passes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve item B1 of the action
Motion
agenda.
to pass B1.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Any? Okay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boguszewski?
Yes.
Ms. Santafanti?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
No?
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
And Mr. Kinst?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Continuing on with the action agenda. Dr. Schiff.
Thank you. I ask for the board's consideration of the following motions under the area of operations to approve policies for second reading, 8540, school nutrition programs, and 8550, outstanding food service charges. Approve the monthly bills list, transfers, and approve the non-public security aid program with the Somerset County ESC, as well as approve the resolutions with the New Jersey School Insurance Group. And that's all.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve items C1 through C5 of the action agenda.
So moved.
Can I separate out C4?
Separate C4. Okay, so this is C1 through C3 and C5. Okay. Any discussion on that? C1 through C1, C2, C3, and C5.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
On the bill list, most of our outplacements are done on a monthly basis, but there was one for the Morris jointure that was for, I hope, full price. And I was wondering what our policy is on that, why we would pay tuition up front for hopefully what's a year's tuition, when it seems like all the other schools are. I'm sorry?
We'd have to research that specific one. I'm not familiar with it. I have to take a look. But typically, we do not prepay the tuition. There may have been a settlement agreement. I'm not certain. We'd have to go back and research it.
Okay. I mean, I couldn't open the list before this morning, so
Okay.
I didn't have a chance to call anyone on it.
Not a problem. We'll look it up, and we'll get you an answer to that question. That was for the Morris County jointure for an out-of-district?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like a 40,000 plus item, whereas all the other schools are like 4,000, like a monthly, a reasonable monthly number.
Yep.
So.
We'll check it out and get back to you.
That was one. And the second question that I had about the bill list was the legal expense. It's really gotten very high. And is there any particular reason for it?
Well, the hourly is 175 now, where for most of the time I've been on the board it was 165.
Wow.
So the hourly is up a little bit. That adds in.
Yes.
We had a lot of, as we discussed when Ms. Thornton was here from Gwen Thornton from the New Jersey School Boards. We had a lot of new rulings from the Ethics Commission. I think that one of the things I noticed when I went over the bills, and I actually did it today, this morning, was there was some discussion with attorney concerning those new rulings. I don't think that's a huge amount of it, but that's something new and different that we didn't have before.
We also pay the New Jersey School Board Association to advise us on those kinds of matters, and they have a legal staff as well. So, I'm just concerned that it's getting...
Beyond what I've already said, I would have to defer to Dr. Schiff.
I would just remind the board that we did do a full legal review at the last operations committee that included outstanding litigation, special education litigation, and possible cases coming up, as well as anything else that's outstanding. We report as part of our annual auditing to our auditor any outstanding claims from our insurance company as well. So it is, kind of ebbs and flows. We'll see as we go through the school year.
Yeah, it used to ebb and flow.
Now it's just flowing.
It's sort of been going this way for a long time now.
We would like to have, we budget for about $10,000 a month, but you're right, it's been $14,000, $16,000 this month, $17,000.
Yep.
So I understand.
And that's a scary number because times 12, that's not going to be within our budget.
Right, so we've had 3 months this year. This month that you looked at today was for September, not for October.
No, I've been looking at every
No,
month.
but I mean, the one
yes.
that we're talking about now is September, so that's only July, August, September. So each of those months has been above what we budget for.
What is our budget?
Well, $10,000 a month is what we.
So
Well,
still
it's a
120,000
drawdown
a year.
from that amount. If we get close to the end, we typically talk about, whatever, increasing the amount, right, Matt? Is that right?
Yeah, and we're getting close to things that we may need to talk about in executive session. So if there is interest in the board in discussing the efficacy of certain legal actions that we're either taking or defending ourselves on, we can put that on an executive session agenda. We can bring
That's not what
it up.
I'm talking about at all. Obviously, we need good legal support for lawsuits and things like that.
Sure.
But where there are situations where professional staff and the NJSBA, which we pay already, could be spoken to, especially in relation to something like ethics, that we should go there first, and if unsatisfied, perhaps go to our district attorney instead of perhaps going to our attorney first. That's all I'm saying. And to keep a general eye on the number because it's higher than our budget. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
I agree.
Dr.
Thank
Smith,
you.
Is this year, since this is only my first year, I don't have a track record. Is this year a more litigious year than we normally have had in the past? I can recall, thank God today, we didn't have an executive session. I mean, all I can remember is the last 6 meetings we've been here in executive session over litigious reasons. I just want to know, has that been normal in years past?
It depends the type of legal activity that's going on at that particular period of time. Right now we're preparing for doing some construction work through referendum that requires additional legal services. We have special education issues that we go through. We'll have employment issues that we'll be going through.
But this is not an ordinary is this an extraordinary season for lawyers? Or are we getting hit with things?
I've seen more. I've seen less,
Well, we can have this in an executive session.
Okay.
So we can have full
I didn't wanna
disclosure
get
among
specific.
the board members.
We're kind of talking around things. We may want to talk in greater detail.
I just wanted a general sense.
It's hard to give a general without.
Judy
It's hard
is
to
bringing
give
this
without
up,
giving
and
specific.
is there something happening this year that's bigger than years past that's causing the bills?
Yeah, we'll take it into executive session. That way we can be direct and not have to talk around things since we're in public session right now. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve items C1, C2, C3, and C5. Is there any more discussion?
Sorry.
Okay.
We're past that point.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Lukaszewski.
Yes.
Ms. Santafanti.
Yes.
Mr. Cohen.
Yes.
Mr. Gillette.
Yes.
Mrs. Haas.
Yes.
Mrs. Haley.
Yes.
Mr. Kinsler.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve item C4 of the action agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, get that? Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Bogoshevsky.
Yes.
Ms. Santafanti.
Yes.
Mr. Cohen.
Yes.
Mr. Gillette.
Yes.
Mrs. Haas.
Yes.
Mrs. Haley.
Yes.
Mr. Kinsler.
Judy, yes or
Judy?
abstain?
Yes.
Yes,
C4?
or
Oh,
abstaining or
I'm
no?
sorry, abstain. I was just looking at something that said yes, I'm sorry.
Right, she was,
I'm
she
like,
was
that's odd
responding
that
to her
you took that
question.
out.
Abstain.
Is that legal? Is that like something I would do?
Okay. Yes. Okay, motion passes.
That's what I would do.
Okay. That ends the action agenda. I'd like to open it up now to publics from the comment. This could be for anything.
Anything.
All right, seeing none. Comments from the board?
Me.
Mrs. Haley?
I don't want to steal your thunder,
All right.
but are you going to talk about Tuesday?
Tuesday, yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay. Tuesday, November 3rd.
November 3rd.
Oh,
Because we
that's
won't
So,
be
that's
meeting
coming up.
again.
We had a, homecoming was last weekend. That was fun game, close game, back and forth. So everyone played well in overtime.
Are you still
Go ahead.
speaking?
No.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I have one too.
Yeah.
Dr. Schiff mentioned before about the high school cross country. So let me bring it down to the smaller ones. The middle school boys cross country competed at the Summit Invitational. I think it was about a week ago in Summit. 22 teams. They came in first. They won a big trophy. It was very exciting. And they compete in the Meet of Champions at the Montgomery Upper Middle School on Thursday, 3 days from now, around 4 o'clock. Dr. Schiff, if you want to come out, take a drive down. I'll give you permission to leave a little bit early that day. If you want to take a drive down. Anybody else? Matt, you have my permission. Lisa, anybody else here? And Iman has my permission. Not that I can grant anyone permission, but I'm just saying. It's just 10 minutes down the road, and they're very excited about that. So I wanted to give them some recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Gillette.
Yay.
Okay. Mrs. Haas?
Yeah, I have to say this. Last week, there was some controversy in town about the demolition of the Duke Estate, and I'm not touching the issue in terms of its merits. However, somewhere in one of the newspaper articles about it, there was a comment about the Duke Foundation being willing to continue to pay taxes on the property despite the fact that the building may or may not be demolished. So there was some further discussion in which people said that it couldn't be a payment in lieu of taxes because there wouldn't be any more taxes, but there was a quote in the paper that said the Duke Estate was prepared to just write a check. So, of course, my blood pressure went through the roof, and I would just like to say, having that been thrown out in public in this newspaper article, I would genuinely appreciate if that payment, which based on current values is something like $190,000, with a potential of $150,000 or 2 teachers to the Board of Ed. I would really genuinely appreciate if there could be some discussion about sharing that with the township, because we've had a recent history of pilots that do not get shared with the Board of Ed. And I think it's important. I think it's a big chunk of change that we're currently getting and will not be getting at the point that that building is demolished. So,
Thank you.
just an FYI.
I kind of agree with Mrs. Haas on that because, I mean, the logical conclusion, if every single property in the township was on a pilot, we'd have nothing. I mean, so 1 or 2 like this is it's the sort of the beginning. You certainly don't want it to become a wave. 65% of any property tax is normally going to the school district, 15 to the township, 15 to the county, and the other 5 among those other entities.
Right.
Basically, a way to look at it. And 1 or 2 here or there, you can kind of say, okay, but I certainly wouldn't want it to be a trend. We'd have to do something about that because we'd have to
Yeah, I mean,
pay
I
for
just think
teachers.
we should bring it to somebody's attention that, it's important that the schools get their share.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, November 3rd, elections. A couple years ago, we moved to elections from April to November to coincide with the general election for higher turnout. This year is going to be a low turnout. There's no one at the national level or even at the gubernatorial level. So turnout is important. There are 5 people that are running for 3 positions, and voters, both in Millstone and Hillsborough, are able to vote members of the for the school board or Board of Education, and you can vote up to three people out of the 5 candidates. So please come on out and vote and show your support, and also show your support for the individuals who will serve in that capacity. So thank you. All right. So I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
All right,
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We're adjourned. Thank you.